On episode 593 of the 40 Plus Fitness Podcast, we meet Satyen Raja and discuss his book, Accelerated Evolution. You can find the full show notes for this episode at 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/593. Have you decided you're ready to make a change? To reclaim your health and fitness? The 40 Plus Fitness Podcast is here for you. Each week, we dive deep into health and fitness topics that affect those of us over 40. I'm Coach Allen. I'm an NASM certified personal trainer with specializations in corrective exercise, behavior change, performance enhancement, and fitness nutrition. A Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, a FAI certified functional age-link specialist, and an OTA Level 2 online trainer. Each week, I'm joined by our co-host, Coach Rachel. She is an NASM certified personal trainer and a RRCA Level 1 run coach. Let us be your coaches as you find your way on your health and fitness journey. All right, let's go. Do you feel like you're stuck in a cycle of losing and gaining the same weight over and over again? About 12 weeks ago, I started a group through the Shed the Fat Challenge. Maybe you've heard me talk about it, or you've seen something I've written about it, and you decided you can do this on your own. How did that work out for you? Over the past 12 weeks, I've been providing several people over 40 with custom nutrition and fitness guidance. I've been supporting them as they work to find a sustainable way to lose weight and keep it off. And I've held them accountable. The results have been phenomenal. Everybody is losing weight and getting more fit. They're building a sustainable lifestyle that will serve them for the rest of their lives. Michelle decided to return to the workforce, having retired not long ago. She dreaded putting on her work clothes for the interview, but her efforts during the challenge gave her a fantastic surprise. The clothes fit great. Going into the job interview, she was full of confidence and she got the job. Dave has lost over 18 pounds and is performing at his best. He recently completed a 100-mile bike ride with his friends, which was his personal best, and he wasn't wrecked doing it. Angie lost weight even though her work hours made it impossible to work out. Now that work has settled down, she's in the gym and she's loving it. The Shed the Fat Challenge is not just about losing weight. It's about gaining confidence, improving your health, and feeling great about yourself. With this program, you'll have the tools you need to make it happen. Email me, coach@40plusfitness.com, and let me know you're interested in the next round of the 12-week Shed the Fat Challenge. I'm starting it up soon, and there are limited slots available. Let's do this together. Email me at coach@40plusfitness.com. Hey, Raz, how are you doing?
Good, Alan. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. Just got back from the United States, and as usually the case, at least in the last few years when I travel, because I'm not traveling all the time, I got a cold. And so, yeah, I'm just now getting a little under the weather and hopeful that my voice will hold out long enough to do what I've got to do this week as a podcaster and recording and being on other podcasts and all that. But anyway, so I have a little bit of a cold. If I sound a little nasally, I apologize. And I'll probably, a lot of my intros for the next few weeks might sound a little nasally because I've got to record those as well. But how are things up there?
Good. Almost the same, though, because the news calls it sneezing season. We're in the peak allergy season right now. And although I've been getting the allergy shots, I'm due for one. And they've been working really well. You just can't escape the pollen and the irritants in the air. So yep, I wouldn't be surprised if you got a touch of the pollen while you were here in the United States, and maybe your body's reacting. But yeah,
we
that
did
time
do
of
that.
year.
We did do that. We went out with one of her uncles and aunts to a place, their bar. They were having karaoke, and we walked up, and the sign said, "This is a smoking bar," and I didn't even know those still existed.
No, me neither. Interesting.
So yeah, we literally sat there for 2 or 3 hours in a bar where everyone is at a smoking bar. Pretty much everybody that's at a smoking bar smokes. So it was horrific, hell on earth. But and so it might just be that my sinuses are telling me that was stupid.
Yes.
Things you do for the people you love.
That's
But,
right.
so it might be that or it might
Sure.
be cold, but I'll
Yeah.
take care of it one way or another.
Same. Yep. Getting my allergy shots tomorrow. I'll be fine soon. But yeah, it's beautiful.
All right. Well, are you ready to have a conversation with Satyen?
Sure.
Our guest today is an author, transformational leader, and coach whose book, Accelerated Evolution, is a groundbreaking work that offers a unique approach to personal growth. His methodology blends ancient wisdom with modern psychology, neuroscience, and cutting edge technology. He has helped thousands of people unlock their full potential and achieve greater success in all areas of their lives. With no further ado, here is Satyen Raja. Satyen, welcome to 40 Plus Fitness.
Thanks, Alan, for having me. Looking forward to chat with you today.
Yeah. So the name of your book is called Accelerated Evolution, the revolutionary transformational method for clearing problems, achieving your goals, and accelerating spiritual awakening that's sweeping the world. I'll have to bluntly admit I'm not someone who's really gotten into a whole lot of the spiritual and
Yes.
I'm going to call it touchy feely, okay, for just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lack of a better word. I kind of grew up old school. You take care of yourself, you take care of those around you, you form a good community, you form a good family, and we kind of work through that. But I think I see more and more where traumas and things that people have gone through are adversely affecting the quality of their life today.
Yes.
And so I think any tool that can help someone achieve clarity and get through and get past some of these things is at least worth a listen. So that's what I'm glad to have you on the show where we can have this conversation.
Thank you, Alan. What you shared regarding, old school, that is the foundation. You got to take care of yourself. So what you just shared is exactly what accelerated evolution is about. It's about getting solid with yourself, then getting solid with your family, getting solid with your contribution to society and how you flow with everything. And most people try to focus on many things out there, but when you start focusing on yourself first, so I think you actually might be further down the road of this than you might even realize, my friend.
Perhaps, but I know I still have a lot of work to do to be the guy that my dog looks to.
Yes.
I kind of saw that written on a sign somewhere. So I just want to be the man that my dog thinks I am, So you talked in the book, and I've seen this, they look at the blue zones and they look at a lot of other things about why people live a long life, a long, good life. And it usually comes down, one of the key ones that, they'll talk about their movement and their sleep and all that. But one of the big ones, and one that often gets passed up, is purpose. And in the book, you call it Dharma, which because I kind of knew that was from really more from yoga than anything else, but from where I caught it from. But can you talk about Dharma and purpose and why that's important?
Certainly. And, because I'm 56 just recently, last week, fitness and health has been really close to my heart, wellness of being. I started out as a therapist, very young, a shiatsu therapist, doing body work, massage, that type of stuff. And Chinese and Japanese healing arts. And then I dove deep into martial arts. That was my base and still is now 43 years plus. And so fitness and well-being, I recognize is multidimensional. It's physical. Of course, we all know about that. The physicality is our vitality, but it's also mental. If we got a lot of mental noise in ourselves, self-limiting beliefs, we're putting ourselves down, or our mind is looping around negative thoughts like I'm not good enough, I'll never make it. And many of them can be unconscious, right? Then we need to have mental fitness as well. We also need to have emotional fitness of being. When we're overwhelmed, filled with struggle, filled with tension of the day, of the era, of the time, of everything that we've got going on, then we're not going to be emotionally free. To have emotional freedom, the capacity to be light, buoyant, joyful, loving, gracious, magnanimous, rather than irritable and tense and filled with anger and vitriol and judgment and all of this. When we have emotional fluidity in our being, our whole health goes through the roof. And then spiritual health is a connection to our soul, our heart, a connection to our highest purpose, dharma, as you said. Now, whether you're religious or not, to me, spiritual means recognizing and getting clear that we actually do have a higher purpose here. We have a purpose of contribution in some way. It might not be world level contribution. It could be just contribution in our neighborhood. Don't ever underestimate that you are here and that we are here for a contribution. And contribution to me is the pathway to our spiritual essence. So to me, fitness and well-being is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And when we awaken all of that within ourselves, we become unstoppable. Our health and fitness goes through the roof, and we become magnetic. Success comes to us rather than us chasing it.
Now, one of the reasons, I guess, my purpose, if you will, of what I do is trying to help people get healthy and fit. That's why I started this podcast. That's why I coach people online. And the main reason that a lot of people say that they're coming to me is that they lack motivation and they struggle with motivation.
Yes.
Or staying motivated. Sometimes they get started, but then they fall back and they just can't keep that motivation going. In the book, you share the prime theory of motivation. Could you kind of go through those 5 elements of the prime theory and why those are important and how they can help us?
Okay. So I'm going to give you the essence of all of that motivation. Those 5 boil down to 1. Okay. What it is there is a plethora of knowledge. We all know that on how to get well, how to be fit. You can go on YouTube. You can see tens of thousands of exercise videos, all for free, all of that. Why we're not motivated is we have 3 main reasons we're not motivated, and it's all unconscious. Number 1 is limiting beliefs. We have beliefs about ourselves. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I'm not strong enough. I'm too this. I'm too that. And we gain these. We pick up these limiting beliefs from challenges in our life when we were earlier. And, someone said, hey, I don't know if you can do that. And you say, you're right. You bought into it. I don't know if I can do that. Every time we bought into these lies about ourselves, we created a false image about who we are, a limited image. And then we start thinking out of that mindset. And you can see that in a lot of people and even in ourselves, that if we listen to those limiting beliefs, we'll remain a prisoner, a slave to them. So that's the first thing we got to get in touch with, how to heal and transform our limiting beliefs. Okay. That is one of the main areas that holds us back from being fully motivated, spontaneously, naturally, without this gregarious willpower, right? The other number 2 block we have to being fully motivated and inspired to be fit and well is traumas. Traumas are negative or heavy duty things that have happened to our lives that we couldn't process or deal with or absorb or digest in the moment. And so that intensity of that experience is suspended in our images, in our mind, thoughts that we have, emotions that we have, and body sensations. So traumas get lodged in our whole psyche, our body, in our breath, in our being. And we don't even realize we're walking around with these traumas. It could be emotional ones, things that were just not right, that were overwhelming for you when you were young, that you had to defend yourself with or brace yourself. And that unconscious bracing is still inside. Traumas can be physical. I remember years ago, in a martial art injury I had, I was always nervous to do anything with my legs. I had sprained my knees, hurt my knees multiple times. So I had this trauma in my knees, and I felt if I do anything, and I didn't know I was holding myself back, right? Because of this fear of if I go a little too far, I might hurt myself. This is an unconscious trauma that holds us back from our full engagement with our health. So number 1 is limiting beliefs. Number 2 is traumas. And the third part that holds us back from being fully motivated and engaged are unconscious family loyalties. We have loyalties to our family members. My father lived till, like this, till 70, and I'm going to live till 70. Or we see a pattern. One of the interesting patterns is seeing family patterns of health up and down and seeing how my clients mirror those family patterns. Why? Because there's an unconscious loyalty to the good and the bad that's gone on in the past. So we got to find those, excavate them, and heal them. So in our body of work, Accelerated Evolution, what we do is we find what those limiting beliefs are. We find what those traumas are. We find what those unconscious family loyalties that are not healthy. There's some that are healthy. We find what are not healthy, and deeply, rapidly, and very fast, in a rapid way, we clear them. We transform them. What would have taken months, years in therapy or traditional methods, we're able to do in minutes. When that unconscious loyalty is healed, when the limiting belief is transformed to one of great belief in yourself, And when you remove the traumas, that energy that was stored in you now goes into your vitality. Now you become an unstoppable motivation machine, but in a natural way, not in this gregarious willpower, which will only burn out.
Now, one of the big areas, and it was kind of, I would say, the last area for me in focusing with my health and wellness was stress. I initially started movement because for me that was the easiest one to start, and then I moved into managing my nutrition and then sleep. And so I ended up with still in a very stressful job at the time. And it was just, the stress was chronic. It was always there. The bear was always chasing me. How can we use this method to address stress?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I want to just really get this across that stress is the real pandemic that's across society now. That is in ourselves, that's lurking in our mind, lurking in our emotions, lurking in our body. And stress, first of all, is an accumulation of importance. I need to do that now. I'm not here so far. How am I supposed to deal with all of that? All these incompleted communications, all this stuff that we've stuffed down in ourselves, things that we wanted to share, but we don't feel we're going to be heard. We feel that we're not understood. We feel that we're not gotten or loved or appreciated or valued enough. This all causes stress. The craziness of the demands of work nowadays tends to be extreme. We're being asked to, and even within ourselves, to do far more work in less time, with better results, with more efficiency. No wonder we're killing ourselves with stress. Stress causes all these, stress hormones that just bring our body down. It makes us hard to get up at. We need more rest, more sleep, and we never get it. So we're burning ourselves out. And when we burn ourselves out, many of us are burned out or close to being burned out or overrunning being burned out. We're burned out already way back, but we're caffeinating ourselves, drinking ourselves, sugaring ourselves to run on top of the accumulated stress. So first of all, you got to get that it's killing us, and you got to get real with us. We got to get real with ourselves and not just put it aside and say, one day I'll get to it, because that one day will never happen. It'll never happen. The way we deal with it with accelerated evolution is we find where that stress is and we go to it immediately, rather than circling around with long histories and talking about my background and for hours and hours. And maybe after the third, fourth, fifth session with the therapist, you get to the stress, or 10. In less than an hour, we can get to the core of why you're creating the stress in the first place and what you're doing to reinforce it. And we go right to it. We transform it. We open it. And the stress then turns into wisdom, like right in your mind, right in your consciousness. You get to the core and you heal that's not just the stress. You heal why you are getting yourself in continuously stressful situations. Because dealing with stress on the outside, relaxation therapies, meditation, contraction, relaxation, herbs or supplements to calm it, that's all on the external. It's not dealing with the cause. The cause is the excessive importance that we put on things that we should really back off and smile a bit and enjoy a bit. But it's hard to do that when we're wound up. So that's why we like to heal people in one session rather than take weeks and months. Everyone's too busy nowadays. We need a method and a way to resolve really this death knell march that we're doing as a society off the cliff with stress. We need to recapture our energy and focus on what's most important in our lives, our health, our well-being, our families, our joy, our happiness. Stress then becomes a motivation, an inspiration, not something that destroys us.
Thank you. So now another area where I think a lot of people will see some value from this is because, again, they're hiring a personal trainer. They want to lose some weight. They know that they got there predominantly from overeating. And so this method can be used to kind of get to the root of that too, right?
Absolutely. If we look at the conditions like being overweight, we're being overweight because we're eating more than we need to. And you can get all the advice on, hey, stop this, lower your calories. But what about your emotions? Do they want you to stop eating? What about your inner mindset, that hurt young person inside? Or the one that's lacking love inside of yourself. And the only way you can feel love is when you're eating food. and getting that rush and feeling that fulfillment in your belly and eating that sugar. So we know mentally it's not well-being, but emotionally it's fulfilling us temporarily, until then we go, what did I do? And we go down that spiral again of beating ourselves up and judging ourselves. And okay, now we're going to get vehement and get healthy again. This is a crazy cycle that so many people have been on. The root of overeating is because we're trying to fill ourselves with love and connection and fulfillment and freedom. And since we're not getting it the real way through human connection and wholeness, we seek it through artificial, superficial, unhealthy ways. And so what we do with accelerated evolution, we get to the core of why we are seeking these unhealthy ways of being full. We reorient that, we reprogram our subconscious, we heal our subconscious mind, and now we're geared and training ourselves to seek true fulfillment from relationship rather than from the stuff that knocks us down.
If someone were going to go through an accelerated evolution session, what would that process look to them?
It's really simple. A coach, a guide, first of all, will ask you, what's the main challenge you've got going on that you'd like help with? What's the main thing that's bothering you? So come with honesty and realness. Okay, this is the thing I want most transformed in my life. It could be personal, could be professional, could be health, could be your food, it could be your weight, it could be your exercise. Whatever is most clogging you up, bring that honestly and directly to the Accelerated Evolution Guide. Then, rather than taking a long case history, they're going to now say, okay, they're going to get you to take a few breaths and relax and get in touch with the disharmony. They're going to get you to feel the problem, not just talk about it. They're going to get you to quiet and feel how that affects you, how that's limiting your life, how that's hurting you. And you're going to feel where it is in your body, how it feels. And then the guide is going to take you through this beautiful process that step by step guides you within, that you'll actually feel it within minutes, how the tension, the self-hate, the loathing, the contraction inside yourself starts to open and become lighter and freer and spacious. And ultimately, you're actually going to be in this place of joy and true freedom and inner insight. Then the guide will say, once you've got to that place and you've released the tension and the trauma and all that's limiting beliefs that keep you in that stuck state, and this happens very quickly, then what happens is they're going to say, okay, now how do you want to live this in life? They're going to give you guidance, support, and insight on how to live this way so that the new way you're being is translating into life in a good, wholesome way. And that all happens in under an hour.
I define wellness as being the healthiest, fittest, and happiest you can be. What are 3 strategies or tactics to get and stay well?
Okay. Number 1 is to recognize that your limits are a portal to your strengths. Number 1, make a list of where you feel unwell, where you feel not fully happy, where you feel that you're not joyful enough. Don't hide from that. Make a list of the top 3 areas that are holding you back, that you feel bad about, or you feel guilty or shameful or not on about, and get real with them. That's number 1. Just 3. Don't make a list of 100. Just 3 is good. Okay.
My list would be pretty long too.
Okay. Start with the top 3. We all have that, right? But if you make a list of 20 things, you're going to get depressed. You're going to go, I'll never get to it. Top 3. Okay. Number 2, make a commitment that you're going to go through any method, any ways, any means. And if accelerated evolution is inspiring you, come and experience that. Make a commitment that I'm not going to let those things keep me down. I'm going to use those as a slingshot and a doorway, a portal to my fullness. Because every accelerated evolution guide or anyone who goes through it, they get to recognize my limitation is actually a gift. That actually is a powerful gift inside. So you got to do that. That's number 2. Number 3, make a commitment to a new narrative of your life. You'll change so rapidly within a short period of time. You now have to let go of the old story of how you used to be. And now you've got to create a new story for yourself without the old baggage of yesterday. The news story is, now that I'm clear of this, here's how I'm going to live my life. Here's my morning routine I'm going to give myself as a gift. Here's my eating routine I'm going to give myself as a gift. So you start visualizing a new path, a new life, a new way of being. So I'll summarize. Number one, get real with your obstacles. Number two, be willing and vulnerable, doesn't matter who you are, and commit to doing the work to transform those limits into power. And number three, create a new narrative, a new visual, a new vision of how you live your life that's congruent with joy and your highest harmony and your highest well-being.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Satyen, if someone wanted to learn more about you and learn more about accelerated evolution, where would you like for me to send them?
Well, we have a gift for everyone here, and that's a live experience of accelerated evolution. And so go to the URL, the website, acceleratedevolutiongift.com. Acceleratedevolutiongift.com. This will give you the direct experience of all that I'm talking about. Come to that session. You'll see it's all online. It's exactly guided by myself. And then have the transformative experience yourself so you know what I'm talking about. You know this is real and not some pie in the sky thing. And then I'd love to hear from you. You'll have information on how to chat with me and how to continue if you're so called. Okay.
You can go to 40plusfitnesspodcast.com/593, and I'll be sure to have the links there. Satyen, thank you for being a part of 40 Plus Fitness.
Alan, it's been a joy. Thank you so much for your kind care and the good work you do in the world.
Welcome back, Raz.
Hey, Alan. That was a really interesting interview. And a couple of things that stuck out in my head when he said limiting beliefs. I have heard that and I've felt that a few times. Having recently turned 50, I'll be 52 this summer. Just once, I let it slip out like, I'm too old for this. and I'm like, as soon as I heard myself say it, I'm like, okay, no, I am not too old to be doing what I'm doing. I just need to reframe that. I'm working really hard. I'm getting really sore. I'm getting really tired. There's a lot going on. But yeah, I can see how limiting beliefs can really, really change your mindset.
Yeah. And I think, again, I didn't go through one of his sessions, so I really can't opine on what those sessions are like. You would have to experience it yourself. And if this is something that resonates with you, by all means, get the book, read through it, and you can get a free session with them to see if this is something that would work for you. But the core basis of it is, if you believe that your life is hell, then it is. And if you believe that you have ultimate capacity to heal and grow, then you will. And so there is this idea that our brains can do things that you just wouldn't even believe. I'll give you a perfect example. An interview that's going to come up in a couple of weeks with Dr. Tom Walters. And in his book, he had a concept where he said, just where our brain tells us something or our body tells us something, and it's not even really true, but we just react. And so the example he gave was your back might, like you had low back pain at one point, you might have low back pain when you get a cold. And so I'm walking over to the office and I'm like feeling kind of achy in my lower back. And it didn't occur to me that I had like something subliminal. It must have been in my head, because there's nothing wrong with my back. I didn't do anything to my back and there's no injury, but it just felt a little achy as I was walking over here. And I'm like, he put that in my head.
Yeah.
And so there is a mind-body thing, and where the brain goes, the body can go. If the brain doesn't go there, the body won't go. Right. And so if you believe in things and you really put your faith in things, and then you work, because it's still going to take work. It's not something, even though he says, 1 hour, and you might be able to do amazing things in 1 hour. But the reality of it is, if you don't believe that something's going to help you, or you don't believe you can resolve the pain or the trauma or the stress or whatever, then you obviously won't. Yeah. And so a big part of stress management, a big part of some of the things that are out there that are big, holdback problems, the limiting beliefs, the eating, relationships with food, all of those are about the way you're perceiving the world. And if you can change your perception, you can change your outcome.
Very much so. I feel like if you could just be open to what you're experiencing and maybe even take a minute to ponder what you're doing, whether it's a relationship with food or relationship your what you do for exercise. I mean, ponder for a second. Like I said the other day, I'm too old for this. And truly, if I had stuck with that mindset, I wouldn't do a lot of the things that I do. And I'm really pondering that a lot these days. What can I do? And I guess the flip side of that is, that my opportunities are almost limitless as to what I can do. And age is just a number. It's kind of irrelevant. It's not like your body shuts down at a certain age or something. But if you really did take the time to evaluate what's troubling you or what's not serving you and find a way to fix it, as long as you're open, I guess, to the ability to fix it, it really is a lot about your attitude
Yeah.
and what you want to
Well,
accomplish.
A perfect example would be cupping or acupuncture or,
Mhm.
and so for me, I just look at those and say, not for me.
Mhm.
I'm not going to believe it's going to work. So therefore, I'm not interested.
Why waste your time?
So I'm not going to waste my time. But
Mhm.
on the other end, some people do. They get
Mhm.
acupuncture, they get different things done that you'd be like, okay, maybe there's something behind it, but
Mhm.
I don't see it. But they say, no, I go and get acupuncture once a week and it helps with my
Mhm.
pain and I feel great. I'm like, awesome, keep doing it. So if it's working, keep going. If you're
Mhm.
open to it, then be open to it. Because if you sit down with a session and any of those things, and you say, I don't believe this is going to help me, then it
Mhm.
won't. So just realize who you are intrinsically
Yeah.
and look for solutions for your problems that make sense for you based on how you're currently wired. Now, you can rewire yourself, you can
Mhm.
change some of those things, but it's not something where you can sit there and say, I believe cupping is going to solve my problem if you really don't believe cupping. So you go through a couple cupping sessions and it does nothing for you other
Mhm.
than leave those
Big
purple
bruises.
circles. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, did it solve your problem? Well, no, because you
Mhm.
didn't really go in believing that it would. And so
Mhm.
just as there's a placebo effect and the nocebo effect, those are real. Those are real
Oh,
sensations in
yeah.
your brain, things that are happening, the wiring. And so if this is something that appeals to you, then I think you should check out his book. I think you should check out that free session he offered.
Mhm. That sounds awesome. Yeah, sounds really great.
All right. Well, as I'll talk to you next week.
Take care, Alan.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Next time on the 40 Plus Fitness podcast, we discuss the 7 elements of a great wellness journal. Until then, have a happy and healthy week.